Children's Services is the public agency mandated by federal and state law to ensure that our community's children are safe and well cared for. We provide protection, care, and permanency for children who are abused, neglected, or dependent. Children's Services social workers and support staff work to build stable and supportive living settings for young people, strengthen family life, and assist parents in meeting their responsibilities to their children.
Hi, I'm Erin from Human Resources. We're always looking for individuals who are interested in a career in social work to join our agency. What you're about to see is a video that includes testimonial from our very own staff from our intake and ongoing casework areas. We hope this video will answer any questions you may have about being a caseworker or agency. For more information regarding our benefits and to apply for a caseworker position, please visit our website link provided at the end of this video.
A good caseworker, I feel like, has to embody patience, because you deal with a multitude of different things on a daily basis, things that you're not, I would say, necessarily prepared for because it's just on the fly. But patience, you have to be accountable and you have to be able to think on the fly. You can't just go and expect and have everything laid out and scheduled for you on a daily basis because it absolutely never works out that way.
You have to have an open mind. You have to understand that not all families are like your own. You need to understand that your upbringing is not like everyone else's upbringing. You also need to be organized and understand deadlines. We have a lot of state mandates and requirements that we are by law required to meet. There's a lot of different policies and procedures in place that aren't just like made up in fairy tale land. Like, they are actual laws that we have to follow. So you have to be able to stay organized and work under pressure.
A good caseworker is honest and transparent. A good caseworker is humble because you don't know what you don't know.
Empathy. You want to really show that you care with your families that you work with, and they can see that and they can feel that. It also helps when, if you need to de-escalate a situation, being empathetic really helps. Another thing too is being resilient. You can go into a home where the outcome may not be that great, and then 30 minutes later you have to go to another home and you can't take that with you to another home. So those are a couple that I would say would be a good quality for a caseworker.
When working with families, you shouldn't have any expectations. You have to let go of all of your bias, go in and meet the families, ask them about themselves, and go from there.
There's so many different families that you deal with. No two families are alike. So I would say when dealing with these families, you just know that there's no way to understand or to know exactly what you're going to encounter when you're dealing with any of these families. And so to be prepared for everything when dealing with these families.
Families are immediately fearful. They don't want to lose their child, and that is the expectation every family has when we knock on a door or make that phone call. So working with families, you have to know that, and you have to be prepared to explain why we're involved and what our job is. And so having any sort of expectation it's not going to follow that expectation you have in your mind.
My motivation for this job is knowing that kids are going to be safe and have some type of permanency, whether that means that they are reunified with their parents, they're living with a family member, or if they are able to be adopted to a safe and loving home.
A typical day of a caseworker, I would say, it's, obviously voicemails and emails, they're just rapidly coming, rapidly. So attending to voicemails and emails from the previous day, and then it's literally, worrying about families that need to be seen, things that you have scheduled, and you have to prioritize because you also have things that are, necessary that you have to get done, but you have to be flexible. So it's attending to the things that absolutely need to be done, and then just be prepared for things to fluctuate throughout the day.
I take maybe 4 cases that day to assign to my team, and then those caseworkers then have 24 hours to make contact with that family. That can be, if we're really concerned about safety of a child immediately right then and there, they may call the police to go out with them. They may do an unannounced home visit to the home to try to make contact with the family, or they might make a phone call to really say, hey mom, dad, this is what we're being told. Let's talk about it. When can I come meet you and your kids? Are you guys safe now? Our job is the first knock or the first phone call.
So 90% of the actual job is really your documentation. So speaking third person, just documenting what you see, what you hear, what you observe, and specifically what is said to you. The family represents themselves as themselves. So you treat interviews literally like from a journalist standpoint. You just take what is given to you. That's 90% the documentation. You're gonna spend a lot of time on paperwork. But the most important duty you have is engagement with a family and learning how to get meaningful information when you engage with families.
We're also providing support and services, and that can be linking a family with counseling, providing food, clothes. I feel like this position is pretty well-rounded because there's a lot that's expected out of us.
So entering the home, interviewing the family, it's always, first you have to get through that initial barrier, because these families don't know you and you don't know them, and all you know is the paperwork. And families, a lot of the time, already going into the visit thinking the worst. We're here to think the worst about them, to say the worst about them and their situation. So you have to just be prepared to let these people know that you're there to treat them like people. And we're here with a common goal to get us out of your life and not be having to deal with your family.
Yeah, so entering a home and interviewing a family, at first it can be very intimidating just because you don't know this family. Everybody's demeanors can be different. Most of the time, most families aren't very happy to see me there. They know at that point that their case could be open for a while. I am often the first person they're seeing since their kids have been removed. I can recall times where parents I've walked in and I've just started screaming and yelling at me, using profanity, and just being able to step back and be like, okay, I understand that this is what happened during intake, but let me work with you and see what I can do to get all these issues resolved so I can just get out of your life.
Can I describe a case where there's hazards in the home? I went to a home where there was feces all over the place. Dog, human, there were roaches. And the thing about that, I know that although it was a very hazard situation, I still have to be respectful towards my family. So I wasn't like, oh, I can't believe this. I was just like, okay, can we meet outside and talk about this? Because I never want to be disrespectful. This is how they live. We know it's not right. They may not. We can educate, but at the end of the day, this is their home. we're here for them, we're here to work with them, and I never want to be disrespectful towards the families that I work with.
The job responsibilities of an ongoing caseworker, there is a ton of paperwork. We have a saying that if it's not documented, it didn't happen. So making sure that you are thorough with being able to document anything that you're doing while working with families. We have to do like reunification assessments, case plans, just to name a few things. We go out and visit with the families at least once a month. With that, you're assessing safety of the kids, making sure that the families have all the support they need to get their case plan done. We go visit children at foster homes, participate in IEP meetings with schools. You can attend doctor's appointments with the kids. We work closely with the providers to ensure that parents are getting the services they need and the support they need, so kids can either return home or we can close out our case.
I can describe some of the relationships that I built with families. Again, just being respectful. I find that a lot of my families do trust me. I'm not out to get them. I'm not out to judge them. I'm here to help the best way that I can. I don't know what it's like for them to live their life on a daily, but tell me and I can try. I can't, everybody has their own experience. I have my own, they have their own, and even if it's just me to be there and just to listen for them to vent.
Some of the best ways to overcome barriers is ask open-ended questions. Again, ask questions to where you're not coming off as being judgmental, and really come off as that you want to understand. Give suggestions and not demands. Help the family mitigate through different scenarios and situations, whatever the case may be, and help them understand that you're really just trying to be that partner to them and that you're not trying to force anything.
The very most important service as a caseworker is you just listen. Create a safe space for everybody, all the family members and the case members, to talk about the problem and get an unbiased point of view and then point it in the right direction. I'm an emotional person, like I'm a feelings person, but removals always really upset me. Not in the moment, obviously, because I can't be upset. Everybody's upset. I gotta have a level head. But later on, when I get back home with my family, it's like emotionally jarring for me. Most recently, I had a 3-kid emergency removal. The day before I got the concern, I went out to the home. Mom just kind of stared at me through the window, which is her right. She does not have to engage with me. She stared at me through the window. I left a letter. That night I got a call from police. They had arrested Dad. The next day I got over there. The police were there, and I had to quickly assess the situation and remove 3 children from the only home they know. In addition to that, they've only been in America for about 3 years. The youngest child did not speak English. Let me tell you, so you think when you start working in child protective services, like you think that you are Superman, you're like, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna remove these kids because they're being abused. Parents do not hate their children. You're not gonna meet parents that are just horrible humans and they had kids because they want to beat them and abuse them. That's not what's happening, but there's another story there. So it does not feel good to remove children, and if you are doing your job properly, you are setting the table for kids to go back home, because children need to be raised by their parents, not by really nice people like myself who think we make good decisions. So I want to start this by saying, in the 4 years I've been at this agency, I've maybe done 3 removals, and 2 of those families have reunited since the removal, and the one family, that was just a removal, but the parents only went 1 week without seeing the children. I set up the visitation myself and made sure that they saw their children within a week. So I just want to dispel that rumor. That does not happen. Statistically speaking, 97% of the time when your case hits my desk, it closes at the intake level. So I give you resources, your family mends itself, and I kind of moonwalk out of your life and become a stranger. So that's not real. That is like movie stuff.
So qualities in working with teens, I would say with teens, more so than our little kids, you need patience. They are going to test your boundaries. What can I do to frustrate you? A lot of our teens feel that they everyone's giving up on them. They don't have anyone to back them up. So being somebody that is there for them. I have one teen in particular, she doesn't have very much family. She has her mom, and she calls me for her free time. When she gets to call somebody, she calls me. And just being able to sit there and talk to her, of being like, yes, I care about you. It's not just a job for me. Like, I want to see you do well. I think with, like I said, patience, and it's going to take time. It's not you walk in the door and they want to run and give you hugs like the little kids do. They want to know that you're there and that you're going to stick by them and that you care about them, and that you care about what's happened in the past, and that you know that they can still do good.
When it comes to cultural issues, cultures can be very different. Even beliefs within a specific culture can be different from one family to another, one person to another. So I think it's important as a supervisor to talk with your caseworkers about cases where they have families of a different culture. Help them to understand that it's important for us to respect everyone, treat everyone like they would want to be treated, and just to ensure that they are respecting the family as a whole and what they believe in.
The best way to be, I guess, sensitive to different cultures is to, again, to go in with the mindset of just trying to understand. So really just go in there, just asking as many questions as possible. If it appears that I walk into a home and there's a lot of shoes at the door, and then maybe they don't appreciate shoes being worn inside the home, so I'll ask, hey, do you want me to take my shoes off? Stuff like that, I think, goes a long way for them to feel that, again, I'm not coming in there like the police, or that they feel that they have to just bow down to a children's service worker, and like, really just, I want to work with you so we can fix the situation.
One thing I've learned to do is that if I don't know, I seek, I find out, I ask questions. So I can always look up, information about a culture. Also ask the families. I mean, again, I'm coming to their house. I want to be respectful. So one thing I've learned, like when I work with Nepali families, always remove my shoes. I always ask, would you like me to remove my shoes? And they're very grateful for that because it's very respectful.
Oh, work stress. We have a lot of that. You have to be able to prioritize your work and your home life. It's more of a work-life harmony, not a work-life balance.
I believe it's very important to take care of yourself as a caseworker or a supervisor. This is a very difficult, trying, exhausting at times job, mentally and physically draining. But we need to find that balance between life, our personal lives, and our work life. It's very important to take care of yourself, your physical health, your mental health, because, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of someone else or someone else's family or someone else's child.
Our staff has amazing resources. So our agency itself has a peer support committee. I've been a member of that committee and a co-chair of that committee for a while, and we are peers. So that is other supervisors, that is other administrators, that's other caseworkers or support staff who make up a committee that can work with you on your stress. We offer amazing counseling resources. I don't know anybody that's ever had to pay for any sort of mental health support through counseling from our agency. We offer an employee assistance program, which also offers further mental health support. We take care of our employees because we know that the job is tough, and the things that you see and the crises that you're working with families on is hard. So we want to make sure you're taken care of.
My motivation for this job is knowing that kids are going to be safe and have some type of permanency, whether that means that they are reunified with their parents, they're living with a family member, or if they are able to be adopted to a safe and loving home.
I'd say the most fulfilling piece of this job is, again, just knowing that at the end of the day that there are families that are going to receive help that otherwise probably wouldn't have if we weren't involved. There are children receiving, mental health and behavioral support, families receiving, financial assistance, as well as, getting help finding housing.
Dealing with these families and these teens and these children and seeing them, turn their lives around or pick up better habits or not wanting to associate with things that they were associating with during case opening. And a lot of it is solely due to them not wanting to let you down. Let you know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a caseworker, and that, that people can change no matter what the paperwork says initially with the black and white reads. You treat people like people, and then they can become better people themselves. And that's just the most rewarding thing to me, especially when these kids go off to college, or we're able to reunify families, or we're able to keep families from or children from having to be removed altogether.
I was working with a family. It was a 14-year-old girl who was dealing with suicidal ideations and mental health. And that's something that's very sensitive to me because I dealt with that growing up. She wouldn't open up to me at first, and I get it. She's pretty guarded, but I was just sitting there and we were talking about music, we were talking about art, because I noticed that she played the piano. So we started the conversation off of that. And then she was just opening up to me, and I let her know, you're not alone. I've even been through this. She told me one of the issues that she was having is that her mom was not paying her enough attention. So at the end of the visit, I discussed that with mom. She's calling out for help. She's crying out for help. She wants you to be there. And then also we got her linked with services. So it was an amazing outcome. The most fulfilling aspect of my job is just being there for families. You may get a concern that might seem so little, and then you meet with them and it's huge, like they need more services or they're in need of something. So I feel like our job is very important. We do touch lives every day. Don't give up. It's so easy to throw in the towel. Every day is a learning experience. We go through trainings, we go through continuing education. You are never prepared for this job, never. And even 3 years, I feel like I just started, because I'm learning something new every day. So please lean on your teammates, your supervisor, get support when you need to, and just stick with it if you can.
Somebody that's looking to join Franklin County Children's Services, I believe that you need to come into it realizing that it's not a job that you're going to get a big congratulations every day. You did well. You have your little cheerleaders with your supervisor and stuff that can talk about how well you're doing, but to get those big outcomes where kids get to go home, or you see kids being adopted, whatever that happy moment might be, it doesn't come every day, and you have to realize that you're still doing an amazing job, and that what you're doing is very important. You have to be willing to put in the effort, because if you are not willing to put in the effort, our families notice and they will say something to you. They aren't going to sugarcoat things. You have to have very thick skin. If you don't, you're going to learn how to get it very quickly. But at the end of the day, it is very rewarding. It can be super challenging at the same time, but when you do have those big moments, or even those little moments when you have a kid that's going on to the next grade that you didn't think was going to, but they got it together, you take those moments and you feel so proud of your kids and the work that you've done to get them there.